not suffering in silence. However, that also means you're away from home a lot.
I've understood why some people go into alcohol and drugs.
Guys, we're going to have to pause. I'm going to need a pep talk with Nana.
Welcome to Reservations for Two, the podcast dedicated to your journey towards wellness and self-improvement. I'm Ruth, and in each episode we'll embark on a meaningful conversation exploring strategies, stories and insights that can empower you to lead a happier, healthier and more fulfilling life. So grab a seat and let's dive into this journey of self-discovery together.
We live in a society that usually secludes men from the topics surrounding mental health and their navigation with it. And the thing about life is sometimes you face really big adjustments like marriages that you kind of have to pull up and show up for. Now I have a reservation today with somebody who can tell me how their journey has been and how it's impacted them and how they're currently dealing with it. So join us today for this conversation. Welcome back to Reservations for Two. We are in the gorgeous Blake Room in the Ivy Soho Brasserie, and I'm joined today by the Mr. Nana Pokes from the Composers, who happens to be my husband. And we're here to have a conversation about marriage, music, and men's mental health. So join us for this conversation. So today, I have a very, very special guest joining me for this episode of Reservations for Two. I feel really awkward. He is part of shall I call you guys a global phenomenon? An amazing band, award-winning, global. Worked with so many people, done a couple numbers, just a couple humble numbers, producer. What else are you? What else do you do? Dad. Great dad, and amazing husband. I have the amazing Nana Pokes with me.
Hi,
thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining me.
No, it's a pleasure. I've heard so much good stuff about you.
Better what from me this morning? Bloody better had. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
We are going to have an amazing conversation today. The thing about Nana and I is that we talk about so many things all the time, and the reason why I wanted you on today is because we have both now transitioned into this new world of, I guess, marriage. So this episode is called Music and Marriage and Mental Health as well. And I guess perhaps my perspective and my journey is a bit different from yours, just because we play different roles in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I just thought you'd be able to shine some light and really good perspective on what this transition has been like for you, whilst dealing with your career literally going off as well. So yeah, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And be open, be transparent. It's a safe space. And if you say anything that's crazy, you won't get dinner tonight. So, but yeah. So thank you. How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. Do you know what I mean? I think it's one that often gets overlooked. Juggling your career and juggling family as a man is something that we're just expected to do, but people don't realize how much of a toll it can take on you mentally as well.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a good support system, you can suffer in silence.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's true.
You're not suffering in silence, are you? I'm like, is that a cry for help? You're not suffering in silence, are you?
I feel like it's one of those things where if you don't have somebody to speak to or a partner who understands you or a good support system, you can suffer in silence because obviously society requires you to step up to the challenge every day and succeed and compete in the world of your career and everything. And if you haven't got somebody that you could be vulnerable with or somebody that you could get your recharge from, you're just gonna crash.
Wow.
So it's been interesting.
Hello, how are you? Good morning.
Hi.
So, are you ready to order?
Yes, please.
Okay.
May I get the eggs royale with the IV 1917 Cure smoked salmon, please?
Yes.
And then a mimosa.
A mimosa.
Can I have the IV full English breakfast,
For
please?
English, yes. Some drinks for you.
If I could get a iced latte, please.
Ice latte.
Yeah.
Any juice for you?
And apple juice, please.
Apple juice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So on a scale of, I kind of usually ask some of my guests this, because ultimately we are here to talk about your wellness as well. So as it currently stands, when we're talking your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being and wellness, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, where would you say you are?
I'll say like an 8.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
Considering you're a little bit stressed at the minute.
Not stressed. I mean, yeah, that's just the way. Yeah, I wouldn't say stressed. Like, you just need things that will always keep you competitive. So you always have to have an edge, something that you're working towards, something that you're trying to achieve, and that's always going to keep you tired. That's always going to keep you wanting to push harder. So I'll say I'm at a solid 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're really cool, calm and collected.
Yeah, that's the way.
Thank you so much.
Mimosa.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was good.
I think for context,
Yes.
it's important to say, because I said you're stressed at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think for context, it's important to perhaps maybe say why I assume that you're stressed.
Yeah.
You're, can I say it? You're currently preparing for the O2 show,
Yeah.
which you are the production manager for.
Yeah. I'm leading the team, leading quite a big team of people and creatives putting that show together. Not necessarily production manager, but you know, sometimes you wear different hats without the actual badge. Sometimes you just have to get the job done and sit in different positions to make the stuff happen. So it's been a strenuous process.
Yeah.
Because when dealing with creators, it's never easy, is it? But this process has been going on for the last 2 months or so, and just bouncing ideas, phone calls, loads of admin, loads of sketches, loads of waiting time, loads of thinking, loads of emotions. So that is a stressful thing, and that's just one project.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then that comes off of the back of touring America for the last month as well, which is amazing. So if I don't say it enough, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
However, that also means you're away from home a lot.
It does.
I dropped that like a bomb.
It does.
Not that was on my chest or anything. Take your napkin, baby. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Enjoy it.
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. So I was saying that means, obviously, off of the back of touring America, no, please eat your food. Touring America, getting ready for an amazingly huge show. It also means that, I guess, your time spent in terms of your personal life, you know, sometimes is sacrificed. So then when we're talking about transitioning and your well-being and dealing with marriage and home as well as career, how are you dealing with it? How are you managing that? What's your balance looking like?
One day at a time.
Okay.
And it's a conscious decision to take myself out of myself sometimes as well.
Right.
Because before being in this position, I know I could just go like a steam engine and I don't need to think about anybody or anything. So I could very much make some selfish decisions. Because I could. I was in my own zone.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, it's different. It's different.
Why
yeah.
you see me nodding my head?
Yeah. It's different now. It's different now. I've got more to consider. So it means I need to plan my time better. And every moment now counts more. I can't just afford to be away for it to not make sense. Or I can't just afford to be doing stuff that will keep me away from home. So keeping that balance. But at the end of the day, obviously, like I say all the time, we're not normal. I'm not trying to achieve a life of normality. I'm trying to achieve a life of extra normality. I'm trying to greatness. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go that into the lane of making history. So that's not going to just come because I just desire it. It's going to come because I'm going to work hard. And this is what I'm talking about, the pressure that comes with being a man that desires to achieve greatness. It means that you have to make sacrifices sometimes. You have to go out of your way, you have to work longer hours, you have to sacrifice sleep, all of these type of things. But in the end, it all pays off.
And I pray that it continues to pay off. I think the part, I guess, from my perspective, kind of being, I guess, having a back seat. Would you say a back seat? Or like a rear view mirror view to, I guess, your world.
Co-pilot seat.
A co-pilot seat to that steam engine in your world is that, and again, just for context, you and I have spoken a lot about what this time in life kind of should look like, our expectations of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said as well that in the start that I guess even though we're both experiencing this journey, because I don't know about you, but I've never been married before.
No. I can definitely.
Can you decline?
Definitely attest to that. I've been married before.
But this is new for the both of us.
Yeah.
We're figuring this out day by
100%.
day. And then on top of that, we've had a baby. So that's new as well. And I can see that you have had a period of having to adjust mentally to steam engine single nana, and now steam engine married nana. And is it fair to say that that's been a challenging transition for you? Like, in all honesty?
Yeah. Naturally, because now my responsibility has changed from being responsible for another adult to now being...
Who's the other adult?
Well, I'd like to think you're an adult. I'll get in a lot of trouble, boy. I'll get in a lot of trouble if you're an adult, boy. Listen, you're definitely an adult.
I am.
If I put your passport on the screen. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, being responsible for another adult is one thing. But then now you're responsible for a child.
A whole human being.
A whole human being, and the trajectory of his life, and whether he wakes up with a smile or not, whether he's good, why is he crying, why is he not crying? Like, all of these different things are constantly on your mind. And then just always thinking years in advance for his life. That is a space that all I can do is lean on what I've seen my parents do, and also your parents do. Obviously, in the time I've known them, I haven't known them forever, but even in the short time that I've also known your parents, there's things that I can see that are a result of foresight.
Yeah.
You get me? Dad thought about things way before you would have thought about it, and they were able to now come into play when you were grown enough to be able to appreciate it.
Yeah.
So these are all the different things that I've had to make a transition to think about and actively work on in real time. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a balancing act.
But when you have faced those, I guess, challenges and the moments where you've had to kind of stop and actively think about it, because, you know, again, I know that you haven't always had the answers. You always,
I still don't.
Exactly, because it's a new situation. Every day is is different, and you're figuring it out. So on a practical level,
Yep.
when you have faced challenges or you have been kind of stuck on what to do, what has been your thought process, or how have you dealt with that?
Well, I lean on the fact that before being a married couple, we're friends.
We are
Yeah, you're actually my best friend. So
Aww.
the first thing is,
hearts.
get out of here. So the first thing is, I'm trying to figure out how do I make my friend happy, and in figuring out that answer, that would then obviously now make it easier to work out how can we solve the matter that's at hand.
Yeah.
And then knowing that you trust my decision making would allow for me to now tap into a different zone where I'm now making a better decision or the best decision for the moment. There's that, and then also speaking to other men that I trust, both dads, and then like just older men who are married. But the thing is, you have to also be careful when taking advice, because no two marriages are the same. That's another thing.
100%.
No two relationships are the same.
And I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's easy, especially just on that point as well. I think the day and age that we live in, I like to call it the day and age of the highlight reel, where it is very easy for you to only see the best parts of something, or the most amazing, the most celebrated parts of
100%,
something.
100%.
And, then you have things like couple goals and da-da-da-da-da, but you don't see them when they're in the trenches. So it's very, very easy for you to fall into that trap of comparison.
100%.
And looking at others and thinking, okay, you know what, you did that, so that, and if that worked for you, then that must work for me. But like you've just said, no two marriages are the same, and you're just figuring it out, isn't it?
As the saying goes, comparison is the thief of all joy. So if you want peace of mind, if you want joy, don't compare. You have to just work out what's going on in your situation and trust and believe that you're going to make the right decision. But do you know what? I'm also cautious to not come across like, say, we've got the answers as a married couple, or
We
like
absolutely
say we're a couple that has figured it out.
No.
Because it's still very early doors. But I could just appreciate the fact that there has been a transition, and there's a lot of stuff that I have learned, and a lot of things that I know that you've also learned, because you're not the same Ruth that I met when we were dating. You know what I'm saying? We've adapted and grown over time. So I think that in itself is a testament to a switch in our mental.
Yeah, but then even, I guess, for you, and I know the role that you have taken on, not even just the role that you've taken on, but the role that you took on from the very beginning. You are you're very traditional in your sense, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yep.
And okay, that was a big yep.
Yep. Yeah. No.
You're very traditional.
Unapologetically.
Traditional, clearly, and very. You have your morals, your ethics that you stand on, and so proudly stand on as well. And you've taken on the role as the provider, ultimately, and that also comes hand in hand with what you do career-wise. So you are, and it's so funny because, again, just in the spirit of transparency, one of the things that we've had to kind of come over is that balance of what work looks like and what home looks like, and being able to figure out a way that everything gets served the way it needs to be served.
Yeah. Because like you always say, I'm a bit of a workaholic.
You are a workaholic. Not a bit. You are a workaholic.
Yeah, but you know what? I used to be apologetic about that. But then the thing is, I realized so much of a man's identity is what he does. You understand? Because in society, unfortunately, who I am as an individual, as a man, is not just who I am as a spirit, or who I am emotionally. It's my ability to be my ability to solve problems, my ability to be influential in environments where it matters. And so, in order to always keep that side of me as what's the word?
Viable.
As viable, as sharp as it needs to be, I need to always make sure that I'm working, because it's competition. Ultimately, I'm competing against other men, so I'm constantly working. And I don't think any man should feel apologetic about being a workaholic. But where the problem is where you now can't make a demarcation between when you're going overboard.
Yeah.
Because there is an overboard point.
Do you feel like you go overboard?
No, I think I can go overboard sometimes, but the thing is...
Sometimes.
No, sometimes, not all the time. I think sometimes it's difficult to also be in work mode and then also be as attentive as you need to be to your partner. And as attentive as you need to be, or as present as you need to be to your family. And it's about being present mentally and emotionally. And it's difficult to make that switch sometimes. Because when you're working, you're in beast mode. No matter the job that you're doing, you're in beast mode. But then you also need to cool down to be able to be as sensitive as you need to be able to listen and hear your partner and your children and your family. You need to be able to be in a space where you can be receptive towards the messages that they're giving. So I don't think men should be crucified for being
Working
in beast
hard.
mode, because nobody likes a lazy man.
No, 100%. So I'm not crucifying anyone for being in beast mode, but I think you have to also make, and this is going to kind of lead into my other questions, where I think you also have to make a conscious effort to be present.
Yes,
because
yes.
Again, if you want to kind of just, when we're talking about like traditional kind of men and traditional roles and stuff, I guess growing up, you've been brought up to provide, to lead, to go ahead and to do what you need to do, to bring back home, bring back home the bacon for the family and all of that jazz. So naturally you've grown up with that weight on your shoulder. But aside from being a man, you're also a human being.
I am, indeed.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Testing 1 2.
You also are a human being, and sometimes what that also means is that sometimes the weight is a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And you are learning things that are not perhaps innate skills or things that you've grown up knowing that this is the skill to hone into. In the spirit of transparency, one thing that we have dealt with, especially when we were kind of first figuring out how serious we wanted to take this, was communication. Because I found that growing up, that possibly or that potentially wasn't your main focus. Your focus was to, okay, I'm growing up to be a man. I need to learn how to provide. I need to learn how to take care of a home. I need to learn how to go out and do what I need to do outside and stand amongst men outside in traditional settings. But communication perhaps maybe wasn't something that you paid much attention to. Is that fair to say? Like in terms of being able to communicate your feelings.
Yeah.
If you say yes, I'm going to tell you no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, because communicating my feelings, it was not something that was ever really discussed. I mean, I was in a loving household and family and stuff like that. Like, if something was bothering me, I was always given the platform to say it. But I think from very early on, it was always a thing where I understood the concept of having a duty as a man to make sure that you figured out what you need to do to make sure your family's good, whatever it is, to make sure your family's good.
Okay.
So that duty is something that was always more important to me than how I felt about it.
Right. So then that then brings you to this point where you are in a in a really serious relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, this is as serious as it gets.
I can imagine so.
Better be serious. But you're in a serious relationship, and I think one thing that Nana and I talk about all the time is like you're very logical.
Yeah.
So you understand your duty.
100%.
Whereas I'm really emotional, and I understand my feelings, and
Yeah,
I
doesn't
want to
make
talk
sense,
about feelings,
Yeah.
which is fair. But what that also means is that sometimes I say to you, "How are you feeling?" and you don't necessarily know how to articulate how you're feeling
I don't have
back.
the vocabulary for that.
But again, just taking it away from you being a man and having this duty and having this drive, you're also a human being. And what that also looks like is that you're now in this new phase of your life where it's very, you need to tap into your emotions, you need to tap into your feelings, and you need to be able to communicate how you're feeling, what you're feeling heavy with, what you're finding hard.
Sorry to cut you. You know the thing, I think there is this mindset that men don't feel, or men are not emotional. We are emotional. We are emotional, and that in actual fact is the fuel as to why we work as hard as we work, when we do things with the conviction that we do, because we're running away from the feeling of not having, or the feeling of disappointing, or the feeling of being less than. Like everybody has that thing that they're running away from, and that's what makes that's their driving force. And when you say feeling, I mean, I'm happy today, I'm sad today. All of that stuff doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it's more about what do you do about it.
Right.
We're all gonna feel something, but the question is, what do you do about that feeling?
But that's what I'm asking you. So.
But the difference, I think, is when you say I feel so and so and so and so and so and so, you're not saying you feel the way you feel with looking for an answer from me. That's something I had to learn. Sometimes you just feel some way, and you just want to feel that way, and you just want me to hear it. Meanwhile,
I'm watching you.
No, but it's not a bad thing. It's just a difference. That's what I'm saying. It's a difference. Like, I'm sure many men who are going to watch this can agree that their ladies can like come home from work or whatever. I can't believe someone so done this, and can you believe they did it? Like, and she's mad about whatever's going on. He might have the solution. You know, maybe don't chat to her again. And that's not the answer she wants to hear. She just wants to tell you this is how she feels. Do you understand what I'm saying? But meanwhile, with guys generally, if there is a problem, we don't want to stay on the problem too long. We literally want to find the solution and keep it moving.
Okay.
But
can I pause you?
So it's just a difference.
I understand. But for those guys who perhaps are struggling with what they're dealing with and do not know how to best articulate it, I think you're doing a lot better at articulating where you're at.
It's a process.
And it's a process, and what you're struggling with or what you're finding difficult today, especially in that never-ending balance of outside and home, you know, work and family, professional and personal. In that never-ending balance, I think something that you're learning and something that you're doing a lot better at is communicating where you're at in your process.
Thank you.
So no worries, I'll give you your accolades where I can. They're not many, but I'll give you where I can.
Thank you.
But that's what you're currently doing better at. So for someone who is watching and is struggling with figuring out this new journey or this new life of, okay, you know what, I've now stepped into marriage or this serious commitment, I'm trying to be the guy that this person needs, but also trying to figure out who I am in this big wide world, what is the one thing that you would say to them in terms of being able to keep their sense of wellness and peace?
I'd say educate yourself as much as possible, because something that we mentioned is vocabulary. You need to be able to have the vocabulary in your back pocket to be able to pull out, to be able to express how you feel. And unfortunately, there's many examples in the past of people who haven't had the
exact vocabulary
that was needed to express how they feel. And because as men you feel very dominant and big, then you become physical. And that isn't something that should ever be happening. That's not something that I condone at all. You should never become physical not even just with women, with anybody. Just because you feel a certain type of way, unless you're going to war. If you're going to war, go to war properly. You know what I mean? That's different. But in terms of the confines of a relationship, you should never become physical for any reason. You should be able to know how to articulate your feelings. So I'll say educate yourself to understand what the things you feel actually can be communicated as. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes we feel a certain type of way, can't find the words, and just expect everybody to just understand.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So.
But in terms of what would you say in terms of like a practical? So one thing that I do, one thing we started it, but it kind of went nowhere actually.
Okay.
Do you remember when I suggested that, like, whenever we'd get into like a disagreement, to like, no, actually one thing that I still do is I will text you.
Yeah.
I will text you the longest paragraph as to how I'm feeling. And not, you're so annoying. Stop doing that face. And can you stop looking at all the cameras like that? You're so annoying. I will text you the longest paragraph as to how I feel, what I'm feeling, how you made me feel, and how you did that. But what that also does is you send a text right back and you let me know exactly how you're feeling.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, you do.
No, in response.
Sometimes you do.
I say, we'll speak about this.
Sometimes, what that does allow me for you to do is to, even if you can't verbalize it, sometimes what it allows you to do is to put your feelings down.
Yeah.
So in terms of, obviously I'm not a guy, so I don't know, I guess maybe I don't know or fully understand the breadth of how like the mental works in terms of a guy in a relationship. But one thing that I can perhaps say that has worked at times for us is, even if you cannot speak about it out of fear of, you know what, I'm not going to be able to articulate this properly, or I'm not going to be able to really thoroughly say how I'm feeling, you can write it down.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, I think the time that you're speaking of is a time where I just tried to try your approach.
Okay,
but really, I prefer to speak about it.
Okay.
And hence why your text messages will just rattle me.
Right.
Because everything that is written can be taken in so many different ways. And in order for me to understand what temperature the conversation is at, I need to hear you say it. I need to see you say it.
But for someone,
yes,
guys, we're gonna have to pause. I'm gonna need a pep talk with Nana. For someone who is not an alpha male and needs mental health, goodness gracious me, goodness.
Listen, I won't lie. For those listening,
no,
I've definitely answered the question.
No, you haven't.
I've definitely answered the question.
Am I the only one in the room? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're saying, but I also get what.
I've answered the question. I know I've answered the question.
No, you haven't.
I have. Don't worry, I'll answer it. I'll give you a number.
But wait.
Yeah.
For someone who you're taking the alpha male.
No,
for someone who genuinely is like, who hasn't grown up with that strong us mentality, right? Someone who is dealing with it. Someone who genuinely doesn't know how to figure out this balance of, I've now got this new commitment. My life is changed. I'm going through this transition, but I'm also expected to be a man out here and do things and show up. What is the best way to deal with it? Like, that is what I'm trying to get at.
Get around other men who are walking that same type of path that you admire, right? And speak to them.
Right.
And speak to them, because you'll be surprised how many men are, like I said this at the top of the conversation, how many men are actually quote unquote suffering in silence. They're going through many things that they can't speak to their wives about, they can't speak to their siblings about, they can't speak to their parents about, because if they speak to any of those people, it'll be perceived as you're taking house business out. And it definitely, as black people, we don't encourage that. House business is supposed to be house business. You get me? But if man A is speaking to man B about a figurative case, he's able to get wisdom, and even if not any advice, he's able to get some level of solace knowing that, oh, right, it's actually not just me going through this.
Yeah.
Do you understand? As a woman, you might not realize, but you guys are a very complicated species to us as men. So even figuring you guys out alone can mess up a man's mental. Does that make sense? Let alone trying to compete against other men for bacon.
Yeah.
You understand?
But then if, because I hear what you're saying in terms of like even trying to figure out, I guess in your personal perspective,
Yeah.
you trying to figure me out, it's taken a lot of brain power from you at times. Don't say a lot like that.
No, look.
Don't say a lot like that. don't say a lot like that, because I'm great.
What, are you simple?
I'm great.
No, you're great. Yeah, you're great.
Yeah, but don't say a lot like that.
You're
You can't
complicated.
say a lot like that. Anyway, so I feel like, yeah, so you trying to figure me out has taken a lot of brain power from you.
Yeah.
However, if I just take it back to that place of you being whole and you still feeling amazing in every area of your life, again, whether that be emotionally, physically, mentally, how have you dealt with it? You specifically as Nana. So you're figuring me out. It's been a bit challenging at times because you're like, okay, I love this girl, but she's doing my head in today. So still got to stick around, but I've still got to be outside and earn money and work and do what I need to do. And your career's going off and you're doing so many things, amazing things outside, but then home is, because again, just in the spirit of transparency, you could be having an amazing show outside and I'm there like, yeah, but da 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 da. So you're kind of having to be in two mental spaces at the same time. Why are you saying your face like that?
No, it's true.
You're kind of having to balance two things at the same time. And your approach to it has been what, in order to maintain your self-care and health? I'm gonna pull your beard after this thing. Oh my God. Oh, wow.
That's been my approach. Well, prayer. I have to pray. Literally. Deep breaths. I've understood why some people go into alcohol and drugs. I've understood it.
I'm not doing this thing anymore. I can't do it with him. He's not taking it seriously.
I am.
I'm not doing it with him anymore.
No, you think I'm joking?
I'm not doing it with him anymore.
No, but I'm being serious though.
Let's cut it. I'm not doing it with him no more. He's not taking it seriously.
Oh, am I capping?
He's not taking it seriously.
I'm not capping.
Dom, he's not taking it seriously.
I'm not capping. I know I'm being serious.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just giving you the answer. No, I'm giving you the
I'm not
answer.
taking. I'm not.
No, okay.
Drugs? Are you being deadly serious?
No, hey, there's people that do drugs because they can't
being deadly
figure this out.
serious?
You have to give the full spectrum of what's going on.
Are you being deadly serious though?
No, I'm joking. No, let's go.
That's really how you want to come across
No,
drugs and alcohol.
No, I'm saying I understand why some people have gone down those paths.
You're not saying that people like veins popping out.
No, but like drugs and alcohol. Are you being serious?
No, let's go again. Repeat the question. Don't worry, I got you.
Put your drinks down.
You didn't even repeat the part where I said prayer. Come on, man. Come on. What's wrong with you? Come on, man.
That was
You've got one more shot at this.
One more. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay.
Can't even finish my food now.
I don't even know where I start. I don't even know where I start. I'm not doing this with him anymore.
Okay.
This fly is annoying me.
Yeah. No, go on.
I can't remember what I asked you. You've just rattled me.
No, but it's the same question that you asked again, really. Now, how do these guys?
Okay, so in your experience with me, and dealing with, I guess, stepping into this role now as provider, husband, dad, but then also your career's going off outside and you're doing amazing things. And again, there are instances where perhaps you have a really amazing and huge moment and we're going through something. What has been how have you been able to kind of maintain your sense of stability internally when dealing with that?
Prayer, communication, and just taking one day at a time.
Yeah.
That's very important because it's all about perspective. Sometimes what you see to be a huge issue at the time, and just take a step away from it, it's not as big as you thought it was.
So when we're speaking about your mental wellness and how you've been, what is the one thing, I thought it'd be interesting to ask, what is the one thing that you have felt I have done as your partner to help take care of that with you?
It's been there for me. It's been there for me. I mean, you've been always there to call and offload, and you're a strong woman. So because you're a strong woman, it's a lot less stuff there's a lot less stuff that I need to think about.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But in your strength, you're still a softie. So like it's helped. You've brought balance, and you've also shown me a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have seen myself. Like you said, I wouldn't have considered myself a workaholic, or I wouldn't have seen the need to slow down at certain times. And you've helped me see that. So that is also a necessary contribution that I appreciate.
Yeah. And what do you feel as though, again, just ultimately from this conversation, we want to be able to help whoever might be dealing with, struggling with what this transition looks like, because it's a huge life transition.
Yeah.
As well as figuring out what their life looks like professionally. So just even in the same breath as that, I think it's also fair to ask, what in your person do you feel like is needed that perhaps maybe you want more of, or you haven't had enough of, or you didn't have at a certain period and then you had it and then you was like, okay, wow, this has made a huge difference?
I don't know, that's a big question.
Yeah.
I can actually say I actually don't know.
So when you think about work, and you think about home, and you think about being able to manage that balance,
Yeah.
what is it that you need? What is the one thing that you need to be able to manage that balance, and then to be able to manage the balance within yourself?
Understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you'd say that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding is very important, because everything can't be, everything can't be explained all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I always say to you all the time, it's not really even about action sometimes. Right? I know there's that phrase that everyone always says, actions speak louder than words and whatnot. But I think there's some limitations to that statement or that phrase. If I understand your intentions, yeah, I don't need an explanation from you, and I don't necessarily need an action from you to be able to know where your heart is at and what your desire is before you've even done it. You know what I'm saying? So if in my household there is understanding, it reduces the need for combat. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It reduces the need for combat, because I don't need to tell you every day, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. You know I love you. I'm doing so and so and so things, so then we can achieve so and so things. And all of that is a reflection of the love.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, I think that's why I think understanding is very important, and that works not even just in relationships, in just every aspect of
Life.
relationship and life. Like if you're moving on a day-to-day basis with somebody that you love or trust or care about to any degree, you need to have understanding, else you can't walk together. You get me? Like even in like we're Christian here, so in the Bible even says, how can two walk unless they agree? You know what I'm saying? It's very important. There has to be agreement. There needs to be understanding, else you cannot do
what you need to do.
You can't do what needs to be done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I feel like that's a good conversation.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's a great place to start. Do you have any last advice or anything that you'd want to say to someone who is dealing with this transition and they're potentially finding it hard or difficult? you have anything further that you want to add, or do you feel like you've said enough?
I mean, like I said, we're Christian, so for me, my advice would always be to pray. And like, when you have an understanding of who God sees you to be and who you are, you have a confidence that won't allow you to see yourself as less than. Right? You don't need to tell me I'm a king. I already know I'm a king. So as a result of that,
Okay.
yeah, and as a result of that, it will ooze in every part of my being. That confidence will also now not allow me to accept less than what I deserve in life, and so it will always make me strive to act like a king as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. My advice would be, yeah, man, seek a relationship with God and try and understand who He is and who He sees you to be, and all of that will shine out of you with the characteristic of love, because God is love and we have to show love. That's
Yeah.
it. That would be my advice, simply.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Thank you for having me, sis. Appreciate it.
Yeah, much love.
Come on, man. If you want to see us back on in the IV, obviously, write in the comments, pokes and Ruth, you get me?